Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Angels at Home, Elderly Care Conversations. This is episode 3, Trick or Treat, Spotting Scams and Protecting Seniors this Halloween and holiday season. My name is Amy Tucker. I'm with Visiting Angels Rochester, Minnesota Senior Home Healthcare. And with me, I have
Tara Thomas, registered nurse at Visiting Angels in Rochester.
So we're talking holidays. We are ending our summer, getting ready to go into the Labor Day holiday. And I can't believe it, quite honestly, that we are fast approaching. It seems like when we hit this Labor Day and it's back to school, then all the holidays just come flying in, like right back to back to back to back. You've got, what do we have next? We have Labor Day. Then we have Halloween. And what else? Then we go into
Thanksgiving,
Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day,
Super
and then
Bowl. Don't
Super
forget
Bowl. Oh,
the Super
yeah.
Bowl.
I forgot the Super Bowl. But they
Best
just come.
holiday ever.
I know. And it's just the season has gone so fast. And um, Halloween is a great season. However, I don't think that it gets enough attention when it comes to seniors in the home um, and what this holiday looks like for them. So I think this is an important conversation to have. What we see at Visiting Angels is, I think you and I were talking about it, Tara. Some families, business as usual. It's a great time of year. Grandkids might be coming over all dressed up in cute costumes, or neighborhood children, families from church. Um, and it's a great thing for our seniors. In other cases, I think it can be a real dangerous, triggering holiday. First of all, there is the ringing of the doorbell. And I think there's tripping hazards going back and forth depending on the layout of of the house. If there's memory issues, you may have a vulnerable senior who, forgets that it's Halloween. And so people keep ringing the doorbell and they keep getting up or getting startled and coming to the door. And then there's people dressed up, somebody who's suffering with memory issues, that can be kind of scary. I don't know. What else were your thoughts on that, Tara, the
I,
Halloween?
I think a lot of it's the tripping. It's the startling,
Mm-hmm.
hurrying to get to the door. If you have a pet, trying to balance holding back the dog, making sure the cat doesn't get out, giving candy. It's a tripping hazard, and then it's a safety emotional hazard if your pet were to get out. So that's something else to take into consideration.
Right. So it's preparing for that holiday. Um, so we have clients who will, if they have caregivers with them, they will actually have the caregiver take the client out of the house for a period of time, and then it's lights off. Tara, you came up with a good idea, a sign that just says this house is not participating in the Halloween season or the holiday. What did you
I
say?
think that's fair. I think everybody knows and can evaluate their neighbor and their neighborhood. When my children were young in Rochester and growing up, we absolutely Halloween was huge in our neighborhood.
Yep.
And if front porch lights were on, we would ring doorbells, but it would also be considered, I would have been perfectly comfortable saying, we're not participating in the holidays, putting a sign, please don't ring the doorbell. It's going to disturb somebody inside.
Right.
And I think that open, honest communication with people who may or may not be total strangers to your home is okay.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's a holiday that gets overlooked. So it's worth talking about, and it gets overlooked with seniors, not thinking about how that might impact them. And the other thing we talked about is a constant check-in on how your loved one, your elderly person is doing, because it might be okay one year and not okay the next year. So, and we know that sometimes it's a day by day thing, right? Um,
Right. time of the day can make a difference too in people with dementia. Once that sun starts going down, their level of orientation, it can change.
Mhm. Mhm. So that's worth talking about. And then this episode is called Trick or Treat: Spotting Scams and Protecting Seniors This Halloween and Holiday Season. So we talked about literally trick or treat, Halloween, but scams and spotting scams. We thought this would be a good episode to talk about that. Tara, what are some of the most common scams that target seniors this time of year?
So we've got primetime charity scams, absolutely different charity scams, whether it's in person or online or in the mail. A request for charity can come from something that looks very legitimate and it may not be. We can talk about that more later. Also, just emotional appeals, people asking, identity theft is a big one, whether it is from a text message or a phone call. That's another one. Looking out for the new scams that uses AI voices to clone a loved one, calling and asking you for help or for money is also very emotionally wrenching.
Yeah, that one is one of the newest ones that is, we've had clients who it's been a granddaughter's voice saying she's in trouble, she's in jail. We've had clients who we have caregivers with them who have caught things like, um, I have a social security problem and I have to go to the bank right now and wire this money, they said, or my social security is going to be messed up. We've seen that. So a lot of that type of thing where it's like, give me your bank routing number, um, so that we can clear this up. They keep getting more sophisticated. We've all gotten the UPS one where you have a package waiting for you. That one looks pretty legit. I've gotten used to that one and deleting that one. And the most recent one is it says something about an Apple, my Apple ID has been used and it gives a specific amount of money and it looks very, very official. Like you have to call this number and get this cleared up, or $546.32 will be, and I'm not a senior yet. And I have dealt with this type of thing for a long time. And I get that. And it makes me second guess, like, wait a second, is that real or is it not real? So
Especially when it's a very exact amount.
exactly. That makes it seem just like a little bit more real. So I guess what I'm saying is at my age, and I've had technology in my life for a long time. I can't imagine being 20, 30, 40 years older and being able to navigate that. So it's scary.
Very scary. So there's some key safety tips that we can follow. Halloween it's the kickoff of the holiday season, and it's very different from, while it's a long-standing holiday of, kids dressing up and being in costume. There's some key safety tips for seniors or alternatives to celebrating Halloween that we can talk about, because not everybody is going to want to be answering their door. They might not be able to, but it's still fun to see the kids dressed up in their costumes. I definitely consult a community calendar for your city that you live in, see what they have to offer. Many shopping centers or malls offer trick or treating where kids can go earlier in the day, which works both for the elderly and for young families, where you just might elderly walking the mall, getting some great exercise, and also seeing children that are dressed up in costume. Frequently, assisted living communities or senior care communities will have an open house where they're offering treats where you can visit, and it's sort of teaching children community service from a young age. I can remember doing that with my kids when they were growing up in Rochester, going to some of the senior living communities that sponsored kids coming to in their costume to trick or treat with the residents who wanted to participate would be in a community room.
Yep.
A lot of churches on a Saturday or Sunday before Halloween will do trunk or treat, which is another great safe one, especially if you've got the mobility issues and your senior doesn't want to be traipsing back and forth to the doorbell numerous times in an evening. You go with your family, they decorate the trunk of your car, which is open, and you can just sit next to your car and everybody comes to you, no doorbells involved. And then
Right.
on the actual Halloween night, go ahead, leave your lights out, put a sign on the door that you're not participating in the holiday this year.
Yep.
General safety tips. Most senior websites talking about elderly safety says keep the light on, even if you're not giving out candy. Keep a porch light on for safety because you may have people who are not ordinarily in your neighborhood scoping it out. I think that every community can gauge that on your own. I think not everybody participates in Halloween anymore. And it's okay to leave your lights out if you feel safe to do that, or
Yep.
to put a sign on the door that you are not participating. And another thing is just put a bowl of candy outside and hope for the best with the honor system that everybody's just going to take one or two. And
Yeah.
I think honestly, a lot of people do. Another really important one, if you are answering the door on Halloween, do not invite or allow anyone into your home. Somebody who's friendly, it's very easy to let your guard down if somebody's personable or friendly or has a small child. They're automatically not threatening with a small child. But if they ask to come in to use your telephone or ask to come in to use your bathroom because they're out trick-or-treating, please, can I run in and use your bathroom? Absolutely not. No how, no way. Close the door. Do not let anybody into your home. And if you feel that you might have somebody that is vulnerable to letting somebody into their home, I highly suggest they don't participate
I
for
do too.
Halloween, or you have a family member there with them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Keep the door locked in between your guests. That way, nobody's going to come in and surprise you. If somebody is out with bad intentions on Halloween, keeping your door locked in between the kids ringing the bell for candy is definitely a great safety tip.
Mm-hmm.
Look outside. So many people have a Ring doorbell or some kind of a video doorbell where you know who's at the door. And so if maybe it's a group of high school kids that you don't feel as comfortable, you don't have to answer the door. You can pick and choose. It's okay not to
If
answer.
it's a ladybug, it's okay. If it's Freddy Krueger, no.
Exactly. I would much rather see a
I'm
ladybug.
good at ladybug. I'm not so good with
Yeah, I don't
personally.
like the scary costumes. Never
I
have.
personally, Halloween has never been my favorite, but some people really love Halloween. So, but for me, I'm gonna let my kids know right now that I do not want to participate.
I want
We're
the
gonna
sign.
put it in my advance directive.
My son is going to say no scary costumes.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't handle it.
Well, those are great tips.
Another good one, and I think we think to do it with our children when they're younger, but we should do it as adults and with the elderly people in our care. Eat dinner early. Trick-or-treating starts around, it goes, I'd say 5:30 to 8:30. After 8:30, I'm not answering my door. I don't care how cute you are. You should not be out. Not be ringing my doorbell. But eat dinner early. Have dinner at 4 or 4:30 so that you're not distracted or getting hungry.
That's a
We
good
think when we're well hydrated and well nourished, we're going to make better decisions because our brain is functioning better.
That's great. That's a great tip. I like that one a lot. I know a couple of ways that you can protect our elderly loved ones against some of those common scams are giving loved ones your phone number so they're not receiving those texts. There's also ways to have loved ones in control of the bank accounts.
Mm-hmm. Protecting somebody from the texting scams is being present, physically present, and being able to look at their phones, because you get scams that are just, hi, do you want to meet me for dinner? They start to engage you. If you, the rule that you can really repeat and keep going into is if they are not in your contacts, if it doesn't come up as saying Tara, niece, or, you know, Mary, neighbor, Sam, friend. If the name and who they are isn't coming up, then it's a scam.
Yep.
Delete it. A number, it's, you don't even reply wrong number. I know a lot of phones have that delete and report junk option, which will help you eventually, if you're dedicated to it, get less of those scams. Or just, it's basically a robot seeing, is this a legitimate number? Once somebody, if you respond, they know it's even if you respond wrong number or who is this, it's going to let them know there's somebody on the other line. So it just, don't even, just delete it and report junk. If you're visiting your elderly relative or friend, and you can, go say, oh, I got the weirdest text today. Can I see your phone to see if you got it too? Go
Mm-hmm.
through, delete and block, report junk to help. It's just going to help them.
Yep. Emails, you can set up um, emails so that a copy is forwarded to you of every email. I mean, that feels like a privacy situation, but it may be something that your loved one would be willing to do so that you get copies of those and say, Mom, Dad, that is not US Bank, because it looks just like US Bank.
It
They,
looks just like Amazon.
right. So if you can somehow coach your loved ones that I'm getting those emails, if I see something that needs attention, I'll take care of it. You don't need to worry about it. But that goes into taking away their independence and being treated like a child. So that's a delicate balance. But I like what you said about just being present, grabbing their phone and having that open conversation. Maybe it's as simple as you got the UPS one in your phone, say, hey, Mom, Dad, the kids and I are getting texts from UPS. It looks just like UPS, but it is a scam. Um, I've also seen clients where they get their physical mail forwarded to a loved one's house, and then that loved one would bring cards and things necessary. But there's a bunch of scams in the mail where people start writing checks to all these different charity organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And when you write a check, if to a charity organization that is not legitimate, you just gave that charity organization that's actually a scam your name, your address, the routing number, and the account number of your bank, and makes you prime for. So I very absolutely discourage writing checks.
yep. So
Now,
getting
I
them.
have worked with families where their loved ones are adamant about being able to write a check. And my solution to that has been close the account.
Mm-hmm.
Let them have their checks. They can write all the checks they want,
Yeah.
and nothing's going to happen because the account is closed.
Mm-hmm.
And or the option is let them write all the checks they want and make sure they do not have stamps to mail them. Or
Okay.
that you're like, okay, so and so is coming by tomorrow and they're going to pick up your mail and take it to the post office with you. And then you can divert the checks. And it sounds dishonest. It's protective.
No, I like that idea. I honestly do. Um, the other one is that just came to my mind when we were talking. My in-laws had um were trying to sell items on like Facebook Marketplace. That's a big one for scams. So if and downsizing is a common thing, wanting to start getting rid of things. So selling things on Facebook Marketplace is appealing. There are so many scams on there that I would talk my loved one into letting one of the family members be in charge of watching the sales for them and because like I said, I know very smart individuals who were almost taken for a ride on Facebook Marketplace scams. So,
Yes. And if you're going to use Facebook Marketplace, whether to sell or to buy, never allow anyone to come to your home and never go to somebody else's home. You
right.
always eat in a neutral place. Grocery store parking lots are great. If the grocery store is open, the parking lot is usually busy.
Yep. So I like like to sum those up. I want to sum it up a little bit because I really do like being engaged with your loved one, having those conversations about those scams, mom, dad, these are things that people are sending out, showing them, like, look, this looks just like US Bank. It's a scam. So having conversations, checking in on their email or their phones when you're present, just going ahead and reporting scam, whatever safety features that you can enable, having emails forwarded. You can also set up things in the email where it automatically goes to spam and they don't even see it. So that as many of those filters as you can add to their emails, talking about it. I like your idea about the checks. And that is to close the account, but allow them to write checks. Can you get in trouble for that? Like,
I would check with the bank.
okay,
I have never heard of anybody getting in trouble for that. The account's closed. There's nothing you can do.
right. And if there's a few charities that your loved one wants to donate to that are important and special to them, you can set things up where it's auto drafted and they would get thank yous in the mail. So you can sit down with your loved ones and say, okay, let's pick, whatever that number is that makes financial sense for whoever you're dealing with. And we'll get those set up so it's auto drafted out of your account.
Yeah, absolutely. Charity and giving is so important, and there are so many great charities. And we'll include in the after part of the podcast, I've researched different links. There's a charity navigator that will help you check the legitimacy of the charity, and that way you know that you're giving. And sometimes when you're looking at emails or snail mails that you get a letter or brochure in the mail, it looks exactly like I'm going to take Heifer International because that's one that I really enjoy giving to because my children could relate to it. And if it needs to say, it has to have the right web address. Something might say .org, but you're getting something from the exact same charity and it says .net or
Yeah,
The differences are criminals are so smart.
I know.
They're very sly, and it's not it's sad because you're giving with well intentions and they are taking with very poor ones.
I know it. You were talking about charities. I really like what you just said about checking those out. That's awesome. So I'm excited that we're going to put that in there. And then I just want to also, Visiting Angels, one of our favorite charities is the Alzheimer's Association. And I would like to put that link in here as well. If looking for a good charity to donate to, Alzheimer's Association is a wonderful charity, and Visiting Angels partners with them very closely. Okay. So you start it. Let's talk the AI voice.
I think one of the biggest ones that yanks and just makes your heart drop is when there is a voice on the other end of the line that you recognize. It is your son, your daughter, a grandchild, niece or nephew that's going, grandpa, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma, I'm in trouble. I need X amount of dollars right now. I'm at the police station. They can charge it to your credit card. Can you get the number? When it is the voice
I'm
of
in
your
the hospital. I know we've had it happen to our clients.
I had a phone call middle of the day at work. It was my youngest daughter. It was her voice. And she said, Mom, I've been in an accident. I'm in trouble and I am at the police station. It was her voice, and it was her voice when she was upset. My stomach dropped. And then and I was ready to do whatever I could to help her from where I was, and she lives in another state. I immediately kicked in to remember, is this really her? And it was the hardest thing to do because your heart is racing. And when it comes to the phone scams, I think one of the most important thing is to realize they're not going to reach out to you first. Everybody in your family is not going to reach out to the oldest, most vulnerable people in your family. That's not what your family's going to do. They're going to call their own parent, or they're going to call a sibling, somebody, or a friend. They're not going to call the grandparent. So try to remember that. And then tell them, what is the safe word? When you were 2, what was your favorite book? When you get ahead of the artificial intelligence, often they will end the call. And that's exactly what happened when I got the phone call from my daughter. I said, what city and what police station are you at? And that was the end of the phone call. The AI cannot think fast enough yet. I'm sure it will get there, but right now the AI can't think fast enough.
Right. And the problem with these scams is it's worth it for them. They might have 100 people like you, Tara, who caught onto it, asked the right question, ended the call. They might have 100 and just one person who says, let me get my account number. And they give the information and they take somebody for in the case with one of our clients, it was stopped, but it was like $10,000 is what it was.
I know somebody that was recently asked, and they happened not to have access to an automobile that day. And they called their adult child and said, I need a ride to the bank. So-and-so is in trouble and they need $10,000. I need a ride to the bank. Luckily, their adult child said, I'll be right there, and was able to come over. And then you calm them down. This is Matt. What happened? I have X grandchild on the phone, and they're going to talk to you and assure you that they're fine.
Okay. Wow, that's scary. So worst case is that a scam is successful and somebody loses money. What do we tell people who are listening what they can do to support a loved one who this has happened to?
Do not shame. They already feel horrible.
Yep.
So I understand this happened. Let's see how we can fix it.
Do we get law enforcement involved at this point right away?
You can get the first thing really to do is to stop if you gave out a credit card number or bank account number, to let the bank or the credit card company know this happened. Credit card companies are the best because legally you're only responsible for that first $50. And credit card companies also have high fraud alerts where they might be questioning you. So we'll circle back to that later. But to let your bank and your credit card company know, that's one thing. Putting a lock on somebody's credit history so it doesn't destroy their credit. That's the next thing. You've got to contact Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, those big 3 credit companies, and freeze your credit. It's almost the person that is helping the person that gets scammed almost has to say, okay, this happened. I need to make these phone calls, and then we'll come back and comfort you more. And because once you have everything frozen, what you really want to do is stop the money from going, or stop as much as you can from going.
Yep, that makes sense. It really is terrible that there are so many people out there using their incredible intelligence for evil, but being aware is a huge piece, and having those conversations, again, talking to your loved one about these scams and how, just the fact, like we did here, talking about that AI voice that sounded like your daughter. So telling your loved ones like this, if this ever happens, this is what you need to do. You need to um, call us first or ask that qualifying question. So I think that's the best way that we can prepare. And then as time progresses, getting some of those different situations that we talked about, like forwarding mail, setting up filters and emails, those types of things that would help protect our elderly loved ones from those types of scams. Why is it that Halloween and the holidays are more prime time for fraud, do you think?
I think we start to let our guard down. When you get into the hustle and bustle of preparing for the holidays, you're busy. You have lists you're trying to accomplish. You've got increased online activity just personally where you might be shopping online. You've got increased requests for charity because a lot of charities make, between 50 and 75% of their donations come in November and December. So you do have increased requests.
Sure.
We're more vulnerable.
Emotions.
We're definitely more emotional. We are more vulnerable to, especially, the request for somebody who does not have clothing, who may not have adequate food, just basic education for children in developing countries, donating to that. There's so many, both within the United States and outside the United States, that are just asking. It pulls on our heartstrings, and we're distracted. We are distracted. We've got more going on. We want to buy gifts for our family members. We are in a hurry. We have more social engagements, and it's very easy to let our guard down. We're less wary. We're less cynical over the holidays.
Yep.
Nobody wants to be a Scrooge. Nobody wants to be called the Scrooge.
No.
So, and nobody wants to be the bah humbug person. And so we lose some cynicism. That's not a bad thing, but it does increase our vulnerability to being scammed.
Right. I also think about the holidays with that emotional charge behind it. Also, in our elderly communities, may have lost significant others, and there's just this real loneliness. So, the other type of scam that we didn't talk about earlier is there are a lot of people that prey on that loneliness, and they say, hey, I'm from Russia and I'm in love with you and I need to get over. I know of someone who's struggling with this particular situation, and this person has completely fallen for this scam, this person from Russia who claims to be the love of their life, but always has something going on. I need to have surgery. It costs, $500. I need $500 to be able to get this surgery, and then I'll be coming over to see you and we can be together. But it's always something. If you buy me this necklace, I can sell it here for a lot more money, and then I'll be coming to see you. So that loneliness is a huge one, and there's a lot of people that are falling victim, especially the elderly, to that particular scam. That actually that one is scary because it's somewhat legal, because it's through like an agency. So they're offering, do you know what I mean? They are offering.
They're approaching it. That makes it legitimizes the scam.
Mm-hmm.
You are protected because this person, be it a man or a woman, they're vetted by our agency.
Correct.
The agency is the one that is heading up the entire scam.
Exactly. So that one is really scary. So preying on that loneliness and that emotional both are playing at the same time. You've lost somebody that you spent 60 years of your life with. And, sometimes I see these couples that have been together, married longer than I've been alive. um, and when one of them passes, the grief and the loneliness is almost unbearable. So,
It's tragic. And a lot, and how do they know? Obituaries. You
mm-hmm. Oh,
reading the online obituaries and you're finding out and you're researching the person and you think about what we write in an obituary and we talk about everything and it really helps that person get to know everything that you cherished with the loved one that you lost, your spouse of, 50 to 70 years. And it's devastating because they know exactly how to get right in. And it's fine to talk. Do not ever send money. It's that simple. And especially if you have your parent coming to you saying, "Oh, I've met somebody, we talk online." The online obituaries, and it's fine. We definitely want to honor our loved ones and we want to talk about everything that was special with them when they died. And it's if you want to have a relationship over the phone or whether it's email or talking, that's fine. Never send money. That's just it. And if if your child is like, no, you can't have that relationship, let's try understanding that our parents are lonely for companionship that's not necessarily provided by their friends or children, and just say, it's okay. You can talk to that person, but I want you to talk to me before you give them a gift or you send them money. Our parents protected us when we were kids or when we were raising our children. Remember when you had this stranger danger talk with me? Remember when you told me don't help somebody look for their lost puppy? Don't get in the car with somebody you don't know.
right.
That's what happens with kids, but this is what happens with grown-ups. So I want to help you help yourself the way that you helped me when I was younger. The more understanding we make ourselves opens up our parents to letting us help them when
Yeah.
they're more vulnerable.
Yeah, that's excellent. And the theme I keep hearing over and over is having the conversations. What about did we talk enough about online shopping scams and online shopping do's and don'ts maybe?
That is, yes, we should definitely talk more about online shopping.
Okay.
Excellent, because online shopping is so convenient. And it's rare that you have parents and grandparents and children all in the same town or even within the same state anymore these days. And so online shopping is great because you can have the packages sent to them.
Mhm.
So so if online shopping is convenient, then we have more scams,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So number one rule for online shopping is make sure you know where you are shopping. Make sure if you're going to shop at Amazon, you want to know that you're shopping where you think you're shopping. Amazon is very convenient. Almost everybody will shop on Amazon, and it's amazon.com, not .net, not .org, amazon.com.
Okay.
That's one to look out for. So always verify the web address of the company that you are shopping at.
Mhm.
Never, never, never use a debit card.
Okay.
If your debit card is compromised, then all the money that you have in that account can be bled out.
Okay.
I know a lot of people that have one credit card specifically for online shopping with a very low credit limit.
Mhm.
That's a good one.
Yep. I like using, there's Amazon, which has my credit card tied to it. But if I'm using a site that I'm not familiar with, I like to use those bank Visa cards. So
Oh, yeah.
you can buy Visa cards, like $100 Visa card, and put that in as your form of payment. So if I don't really know the website, I mean, I always try, if I find something I like, I try to find it on Amazon. But if I am going to one of those sites that I'm not really familiar with and I just am not sure of, that's what I like to use.
A lot of people like to support small independent businesses, so they're on Etsy or Tidu, if I'm saying that correctly. Those are great. And you're supporting independent and small business is wonderful. And using those Visa gift cards for that, very, very smart.
Yes, I agree. I wanted to throw in about visiting angels and our policy on financials with our caregivers and clients. We have a very strong, hard boundary about our caregivers are not allowed to purchase anything online for our clients. They're not allowed to set up accounts for our clients. And so a tip that I would like to share is just that if you're using a home health agency and you've got, whether they're private caregivers or you're going through an agency, just make sure that where your agency or private caregiver stands on that type of thing. And I would strongly encourage having that boundary where financial, making bank deposits, our caregivers aren't allowed to open financial statements. We're not allowed to pay bills or get involved with any kind of accounts. And so I just want to throw that tip in there too for people that are listening, that if you do have people outside of the family helping with things like that, that you shouldn't cross that boundary. Yeah. Even if it's a neighbor who you love and have known for years, it's just best practice not to mix that. So
absolutely. And sometimes it's hard. Oh, my daughter does so much for me and I just want to surprise her.
Yep.
Nope. Sorry.
Yep. Nope. You also said do not shop at pop-up sites.
Yes, because often I have found that I can be on a site that I like, say, like clothes shopping at Dillard's or Macy's, and there's little pop-up ads for other stores or for something else. Don't click on those. If you know where you are, you're there with a purpose. Stay focused on your purpose.
Stay focused. That's hard for me.
It's really hard. It's really hard when you're shopping online, but you definitely want to keep focused. Don't click on pop-up sites when you're on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Facebook is a dangerous one. Yep.
It's a dangerous one. They have these great ads and I am so vulnerable to them because some of that stuff looks so cute. What I make myself do is write it down and then I can search it later. Right. I do not buy off Facebook.
Same. Do not. Yep. And then those little pop-ups that you said, I always look for the item on Amazon first, but if I do see, I won't click on the pop-up. I will, in a new browser, search that company. And then, yeah. So that's a great, I think we could do a whole, another podcast on social media and how we could protect from that. So I want to be able to touch on that one too, but I want to get to all the points that we will do another one because I think it would be very beneficial on social media, but I want to make sure that we get all the points that we wanted to on scams, talking about trick or treat. We talked about the phone calls and the AI. Did you have any other ones, Tara? You gave the what to do with we went over a lot of information.
We did. I think we should give our basic list of do's and do nots.
Okay, for which one? All of them?
With all, it's a lot of them. Don't give out your social security number. Don't give out your credit card number. Don't give out your bank account number. Do not click on links. Do not shop on pop-up sites.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think you have ever been compromised or taken advantage of, do ask for help. The sooner you ask, and it's so hard to ask for help as soon as you know. And if you are the person who has been asked for help, if it is your parent or your elderly saying, I think I did something wrong, this happened, Your response is, thank you for telling me. Let me try to help you right now. Not, you should have known. I told you so. Thank you for telling me, because our ultimate goal is to protect those who are vulnerable and may have been scammed.
Yep. That's great advice. I do like that too. Well, we went over a lot of information. I hope this was helpful. It certainly was for me. I learned a couple things just by talking it over with you. I know that it's hard to keep up with technology. I find it challenging, and like I said, I'm aware of a lot of the scams that are out there, and you had the voice, AI voice, which I think is terrifying. And you talk about the holidays when you're emotional and busy, and stress is just could be really, I mean, I could see myself falling victim to that. So it's important that we make ourselves aware. And then for me, I learned a lot listening to this. But again and again, I just want to say having these conversations with the vulnerable elderly loved ones in your life is super important. And we'll obviously have if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, we'll do more podcasts like this. We've got the holidays coming up, and we'll do some social media ones. I think we could spend a lot of time talking about protecting our loved ones through scams and all the different types that there are. I want everybody to have a happy and safe holiday season. And thank you for watching.
So we are so glad that all of you have joined us for this episode of Angels at Home, our trick or treat and holiday episode, helping you learn about scams and the vulnerabilities, what to do if you are scammed, and how to respond if somebody that you love is scammed. I think that is absolutely key, because no matter how old we are, we're going to be targeted. The older that we get, the more vulnerable that we become. And if someone reaches out, it's thank you for telling me. Let's work on this together and protect you.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great day. Have a great week. Talk to
Yep.
you again soon.
We'll see you next time.